Hey, sports fans, PB&Z Sports Chaos, and guess what time of year it is? Mock draft time. We're going to give you our mock draft for the first round. Lots of surprises, but first, PB, I saw something very interesting. You were drinking a moment ago. Tell us about that.
Yeah, this is a nice one. This is my first time having it, and I absolutely love it. I've been searching for it for a while. It's a brewery down in Key Biscayne called Biscayne Bay Brewing.
Ooh, I like it.
Their Tropical Bay IPA. It's delicious. It's 6% ABV, so it's not too heavy. It's perfect for this time of year. I'm enjoying it for draft night, and I'll be over at Hard Rock on Thursday night for the draft party, and hopefully they have some hanging out there too.
Well, cheers from the PB&Z Sports Chaos Bar. We have a little shot going on.
Cheers.
All right, nice. All right, let's get into this draft. You ready for this?
Oh, can't wait. Favorite show of the year.
All right, I won the coin flip, so I get to go first. Very easy one. Jacksonville Jaguars. No surprises here. They take my boy Trevor. Trevor Lawrence from Clemson will be the new quarterback for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
All right. Hey, my big question there, Ross, is how many years will it take Jacksonville to make the playoffs under Trevor Lawrence?
If Urban Meyer leaves after 2, he makes it in 3. If Urban Meyer stays, it's 5.
All right. Okay. It's an interesting take. All right. So at number 2 then, this is kind of a brainer as well. The New York Jets. Got to go Zach Wilson, quarterback out of BYU.
Ooh, all right. But hey, everybody for talking about that. That's the expectation. They needed a quarterback. They got rid of Sam Darnold, right? So the next team up, the 49ers, they made the big move, trading 3 first-round draft picks in a couple of seconds, if I'm not mistaken. Is that the math, right, with the Dolphins?
Yeah.
That's a lot of math to be doing. A lot of talk on this has been about Mac Jones being the ideal fit for the 49ers. I will say this. I like Mac Jones as a middle-round pick. You can't trade 3 number 1s for a Mac Jones. That's just crazy. You got to take a shot on a would-be star and a guy that can run 4.4 in the 40, throw a ball on the rope. I know I don't like Ohio State quarterbacks. I've been saying it for a long time. But you got to take a shot on the guy. He's too athletic. Justin Fields, number 3.
All right. You know what? I like that pick. I know we have some Ohio State fans out there too that are going to like that pick as well. So I like that one. And here we are. Top 3 picks, 3 quarterbacks off the board. Now we're going to come to number 4 with Atlanta. And here's the thing with the Atlanta Falcons. There's a lot of talk about them either A, grabbing a quarterback, the successor for Matt Ryan, but Matt Ryan's got some stuff left in the tank.
Yeah.
Really does.
Like 35.
He's only 35 years old. He still has enough in the tank. So I do not think they should be drafting a quarterback as a successor for Ryan here. There's also been talk about the Falcons trading out of that pick, thinking that other teams would want to move up. Now, that San Francisco pick of Justin Fields will have a lot to do with that decision on whether or not the Falcons are in a position to trade this pick. So their phone will be ringing off the hook as they're on the clock probably. Ultimately, they're going to be tempted. They may trade out of it. I wouldn't be surprised. But how can you pass up on Kyle Pitts out of Florida? He is probably the biggest freak coming out of college in a long time at a position. And he is a difference maker. You look at the quarterbacks, you can admit there's crapshoots here and there. With this tight end pick, I think it's a no-lose situation. He is a future NFL star.
Well, he's considered the number 2 prospect of any position in the draft this year, right? So, I mean, he's the number 2 behind Trevor Lawrence. And outside this, the other big rumor that hit the streets today, they are shopping Julio Jones due to their salary cap challenges down there. And they got a pretty good receiving core, even if Julio leaves. If you can put him in there with the other 2 guys they got, you can't double a tight end and a wide receiver. You can double wide receivers, but you can't double a tight and a wide. So good luck there. I think that's a good move, Ben.
All right. So here we go. Number 5.
Bengals, very easy. I know there's a lot of temptation to get a wide receiver for Joe Burrow. They got a couple of receivers. I like the kid T. Higgins there. You need to protect him. Please. Look how many times he's on his backside last year. Penei Sewell from Oregon, offensive tackle, no-brainer.
Absolute no-brainer. And if the Bengals don't make that move, I will be very surprised. And there'll be a lot of Bengals fans out there that will be very disappointed if they don't take Penei Sewell at that pick. So I love that one.
All right, homeboy, what do you got here? This is your team.
Yeah, I've got the Dolphins. I'm representing down here in South Florida. I'll be hanging out at Hard Rock Stadium on Thursday night for the draft party on the field. And I'll tell you, they got Tua. Their defense was really good last year. I think they need to complement that offense, and they have 3 receivers to pick from here to do that. They could reunite Tua with one of his teammates in Devonta Smith or with Waddle. But let's look at the best receiver on the board at this point. It's Jamar Chase. So Jamar Chase goes number 6 to the Dolphins.
Tua would really be disappointed with that one, but I think you're right. He is probably the best receiver there. All right. I got Detroit, number 7. This is another one that could go a lot of ways. People think they might trade out as well, right? Their phone's going to be ringing at this point in time, too. I think they get sober in Detroit for a change. They do the right thing. They're going to protect Jared Goff's blind side. You're going to get Rashawn Slater, who's not far away from Northwestern. He's going to be home up there in Detroit, coming out of Northwestern. Good move there, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. He's probably one of the better offensive linemen on the board. And his big thing is going to be he had a year off. He opted out for COVID, so he's got to come back strong, but certainly can make a difference there. All right, that takes us to number 8. Okay, I got my first trade out coming up here with the Carolina Panthers. Their phone is going to be ringing off the hook at this point. You still have 2 quarterbacks on the board. Only 3 have been taken. We're down to number 8 now. So what's Carolina going to do? They're going to have a lot of different options here. You could have teams like the Patriots potentially even giving them a call to trade up at this point. But what I think is going to happen is the Chicago Bears will be the team that will call Carolina, make a trade, get up to that number 8 pick. They've had quarterback nightmares over the last several years. And you know who picks right after them? Probably the next team in the NFL who's had the most quarterback nightmares, and that's the Denver Broncos. So if Chicago wants to get the next best quarterback, they got to get ahead of Denver, and that's what they'll do by trading up with Carolina into that 8 spot, and they'll take Trey Lance with that pick.
I'm curious. So that's a good move, but I'm curious. What is Chicago going to give up? Because they don't have a lot of draft capital. So what's the deal for this?
Yeah, I mean, it may have to involve a player. There's talk that, the Patriots are thinking about Dalen Gilmore. And we know Carolina could certainly use a defensive player of the year caliber player on their defensive backfield. So could the Patriots be in this position to trade up with Carolina? So, it's really going to come down to that. Carolina's going to look at what the offers are, what they have, what they willing to give away. I mean, they can't give away the farm, right?
Yeah, I'm just curious what Chicago has. I mean, they have to do it. You're right. They're in trouble with the quarterback situation. This is a team that could easily be a second-round playoff team with a quarterback with that defense. But I just don't know they have enough capital. They could make it happen for Russell Wilson. Now, I wouldn't give up as much for Trey Lance as Russell Wilson, but we'll see. All right, so they're taking Trey Lance there, huh?
Yeah.
All right, I got to scratch my number 9 pick, the Denver Broncos. We're going to take Trey Lance. I've already going to make a quick move here. I'm going to get with my general manager and my assistant, my offensive coordinator. We're going to do a little 360. We're not going to go offense. Denver is going to take the best defensive player on the board, in my opinion. Micah Parsons, the stud from Penn State. Opted out a year ago. This kid, opposite of the other side, they got a defense back there at Denver. They're going to have a very formidable pass rush, right? Going forward. So
I like that. I mean, that kid's a beast. He's 6'3", 245, and he's a linebacker. I mean, there's some linemen in the draft that aren't that big. So that's pretty impressive.
So Micah Parsons goes at 9.
All right. I like it. So that brings up your Dallas Cowboys at number 10.
I know what they need. In my opinion, they need offensive line. They're old at the offensive line, but I know they're looking at a bunch of other stuff, including quarterback. What do you think?
Yeah, and there are some good offensive lines still on the board here. I think if you take an offensive lineman, since the top 2 are already off the board, if you really want to get the best athlete here, and they still do need help in that defensive backfield, And I think Patrick Surtain II is the pick to make here. So I got him going to the Cowboys to help that defensive backfield.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. He's a good pick for them. He should be a pretty good cornerback. Only challenge with him is he never really played one-on-one defense, man-to-man defense in Alabama's zone defensive scheme. So we'll see. I got Giants. Giants have a lot of needs as well. I had them looking at Micah Parsons. He's off the board now due to the Trey Lance trade. So they're going to do a 360 themselves. I have them going with probably the next most explosive receiver, Jaylen Waddle out of Alabama.
Wow. Okay. That's interesting. So we got Waddle going ahead of Devonta Smith, huh?
I do. Yeah. I think he's more explosive.
All right. Okay. It's a good pick. And the Giants certainly could use a receiver. So I like that one.
Yep.
All right. So that puts me at number 12 with the Philadelphia Eagles, who traded out of their pick, right?
Yep.
Or involved in the trade with the Dolphins. And they are sitting now at number 12.
Which originally was the San Fran pick, if you remember, right? So San Fran was originally picking here.
It was like a three-way deal going on there.
Yeah.
Philadelphia last year had 4.1 sacks allowed per game, by far tops in the NFL. One whole sack higher than any team. So I mean that's pretty crazy. They got to figure out a way to protect the quarterback, and that looks like it's going to be Jalen Hurts going forward, as far as we know. So. I got to go offensive lineman. I know the top two are off the board at this point, but to me, the next best offensive lineman, who I would actually maybe even put ahead of Rashawn Slater, is Christian Darason out of Virginia Tech. 6'5", 314, big kid. I think he can fill that void there for Philadelphia.
Nice. Again, you messed me up because I had the Chargers who were looking to protect Hebert. Justin Herbert could use a blindside guy himself blocking his back blindside. So Darason, who's the pick there, is gone. We're going to quickly switch over, though, to Caleb Farley, his teammate, right?
Okay. Yeah, that's a good one.
Cornerback. So they go the other side of the ball. They get defense with Caleb Farley for the Chargers. What do you got at the Vikings?
And he's a good size corner, too. He's 6'2", 209. That's a big corner. So like that pick. Yeah, so luckily for the Vikings, who absolutely laughed their butts off last year when the Philadelphia Eagles took Jalen Reagor one pick ahead of them, and the Minnesota Vikings fell right on their lap, Justin Jefferson, right? Well, this year, guess what? They're going to get the best player at his position, and that's the best edge guy. We haven't had an edge guy go off the board yet, I don't think, right?
No.
And typically – edge guys are high. I think edge guys are, other than quarterbacks, edge guys are the number one overall pick in the NFL draft after quarterback has been defensive ends and edge rushers. And you have Kwity Paye. Great story, great kid.
Out of Michigan,
born in Africa, came to America, played football out of Michigan, 6'4", 272. The guy is just a freaking fire hydrant. And he can run, and he can move, and he can chase, and he can do all the things that defensive lineman is expected to do. So he's going to make a big difference in Minnesota if he can land him. So Kwity Paye to the Vikings.
Whoa! All right, that gets us to 15, PV. And
everyone's ready for this one. The Patriots.
Believe it or not, we both picked this back in October, November, when Alabama was rolling all over the field. We said, wouldn't the guy that be perfect to replace Tom Brady, another heads-up quarterback, not the most athletic guy, would be none other than Mac Jones? And he falls into their hands at 15. No trade needed to get him.
Yeah, and I really like the way this mock draft is going, Z. I really do. And you know what? That's a realistic possibility that Mac Jones
is.
I think if the Patriots trade up to, like, they've been talking about trading with Carolina to 8, to kind of your same point with taking Fields over Mac Jones. Fields has way more upside, right? And
he does.
And the same thing here. If you're going to trade up to 8, if the Patriots end up trading up to 8 with Carolina, they better get Trey Lance and not Mac Jones because of that same reason. Right. You know, another Patrick Mahomes in the waiting potentially. If they trade up to get Mac Jones, it's just a bad thing. So he could very easily slip to 15. And at 15, he's the right pick. He's the right pick there.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Love
What
that.
do you got at 16? We got the Cardinals.
16, I got the Cardinals. So, and here's another guy. I'm surprised he slipped this far in our mock draft is Devontae Smith. And, Kyler Murray running that offense and how dynamic he is. You add a guy like Devontae Smith into that offense, they could be pretty lethal there, especially in the West, in the NFC West. So I'm going to put Devontae Smith there on the Cardinals as the 16th pick.
It's a good move because Larry Fitzgerald may not be back, right? Might be the end of the rope for Larry Fitzgerald, so you got to replace him. I think it's a real good move. That would be awesome. That offense would be explosive. All right, I got the Raiders at 17. They need a lot of help on offensive line, offensive tackle, guard. Probably, maybe a guard would be here that they would like, but you know what? John Gruden always does the unexpected. I think he takes probably the most freakish guy out there. I hate the school, but he's going to pick from Notre Dame, Jeremiah Awasu, the outside linebacker.
All right. Yeah, that's a good play. And he, again, is one of those guys that can play outside linebacker. He can play up on the edge, and he could totally make a difference, right? He can run the quarterback. He can drop back in the coverage. He can cover running backs out of the backfield. Great pick. Great player. Like that one. So here we are back in Miami again, right? Miami's got 2 picks in the top 18.
Yes.
This team's been kind of loaded with draft picks last year, again this year. Now the question becomes, they had a good defense last year. They were one of the top defenses in the NFL, one of the top scoring, first or second in scoring defense. So you got to say, do we want to really focus on that side of the ball and go for an edge guy? Because there's still some good edge guys out there. Jalen Phillips being one of them out of the U. Stays right in his hometown of Miami. But you have an offense, right? You got Tua. You just drafted Jamar Chase. What if they just leaned in on that SEC offensive team that they have and went after Najee Harris for running back? And you got Tua from Alabama. You got Jamar Chase from LSU. And then you have Najee Harris from Alabama as well. You know what? Just for selfish, fun reasons, and what the hell, I'm a season ticket holder. I want to go see some fun. I don't care about the edge guy. I'm going Najee Harris as a running back. Dolphins at 18.
All right. Wow. A lot of mock drafts has that as potential, so I'm with you on that. All right, next team up, Washington. The Washington Football Club. Is that what the name is?
Team. WFT, not WTF, but WFT.
They need a lot of help every place, especially a quarterback. But I think what Ryan Fitz, as you guys know well down in Miami, will help them get by for one more year. There's not really a quarterback on the board here unless they wait till second and third where they can get some good value. I like this kid out of Minnesota, wide receiver. I know there's a couple other kids, including Kadarius Toney, still out there from Florida, rated higher than him. I've seen Bateman play. He's a stud. I like him there. He's a steal from Washington at 19.
All right. Okay. Chicago.
You got Carolina.
Carolina, right. Chicago is in the 20 spot, but they're going to trade with Carolina. So now we have Carolina picking. Big needs here for them are really around offensive line. They got to protect their newly acquired Sam Darnold. They're also kind of hurting in their defensive backfield. So they could go after, the next best corner, like a JC or Greg Newsome II, actually, or a
JC Horn. Yep.
That would be a good pick, I think, for them in there. Tackle still on the board. Maybe an Elijah Vera-Tucker out of USC potentially. But, in the end, I think the best athlete right now on the board is JC Horn out of South Carolina. So I'm going to put that cornerback on the Panthers, 6'1", 205.
Okay. All
right. Great athlete.
I'm going to have to do a little dance a little further down. I had him going to another team. All right. I'm up. I got the Colts. Colts really don't have anybody explosive on defense rushing the passer, right? I think that's one of their only weaknesses on that team. I got them taking your Miami boy. They haven't taken the other one, Greg Rousseau. I think he's just a little more solid and dependable. So I got Greg Rousseau going to the Colts.
Yeah, he's a big kid too. 6'7", 265.
Yes.
So if he can get his technique down, he could really, really help that team.
I like his upside.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. I'm not sure if he's going to get drafted ahead of his teammate Jalen Phillips, though, another edge guy, and we still have him on the board at this point. So we'll see.
I just like his raw talent much better. I think he can be developed. Hey, and the
Okay.
worst happens, you move him inside to a tackle. Put another 20 pounds on him, he becomes a tackle.
There you go. Tennessee, fourth most passing yards allowed in the NFL last year. Over 4,400 passing yards allowed. They also had the fewest sacks in the NFL. Well, actually, third fewest sacks at 19. This team just needs help all over the place in defense, but we know sacks can come from good coverage as well. So I think if they can get a good corner, they'll be in good shape. And they're going to be disappointed that J.C. Horn went off the board a couple picks prior, but you still got Greg Newsome in the second out of Northwestern, 6'1", 190, a little on the smaller side, but he's certainly a good player. So I'm going to go Greg Newsome the second to the Titans.
Ooh, okay. All right. There's another guy who had right on my board next for the Jets. He's gone. So I got to come up with a backup plan for the Jets. They need help on the offensive line. I think they move inside. You've already mentioned this guy's name. I happen to like him a lot. The big boy from USC, Verataka. He's going to play guard for the Jets next year.
All right. It's a good one. Wait, you just had the Jets? Isn't Seattle going at 23, or is it your Jets?
Jets via Seattle. They got that from Seattle.
Oh, they did. Okay. All right. Wasn't aware of that. Sorry. All right. So that means at 24, I have Pittsburgh up next. The Steelers. Again, a team that defensively is probably in pretty good shape. Last year they were one of the best defensive units in the entire NFL. So I know they have a need at running back, but they don't need to go this high with a running back. So they got to go offensive lineman. I'm going to go with Tevin Jenkins out of Oklahoma State.
Ooh, that's a good move.
Lineman.
He's sneakily pretty good. I had him as the 5th rated tackle on the board, so that's not bad. All right.
He's 6'6", 320. He's a big boy.
Yes, he is. Yeah, I like him. All right, hey, we're back to my team, the Jags. I started with the Jags. I'm back at him at number 25. I'm going the other side of the ball. I'm going to take the best safety on the board. Trayvon Moehrig out of TCU.
Yeah, that's a good pick. That's a really good pick there. I thought you might have put them in Vegas with the Raiders at 17. If he slips down to 25, I think that's an easy pick there. So
it's a steal. Yep.
It's a steal. All right. So now we have the Cleveland Browns.
Yes.
I know some of their big needs are around corner, but with their pass rush and their front four, they can, they'll create defensive. It's like a defensive back's dream because the quarterback's not got time to throw the ball anyway. So I think the bigger need for them is going to be for Baker Mayfield to have someone to throw the ball to. So I'm going to look wide receiver here. And if I look wide receiver right now, I think the best one still on the board is probably Rondell Moore out of Purdue.
Whoa, that's my sleeper pick. Oh, I like it. Nice.
Yeah, a little bit of a smaller kid. He's only 5'9", 180, but he's got the move. So I'm going to give him to the Cleveland Browns. And really
with Jarvis Landry and Odell, if Odell stays, they don't really have a pure slot guy. Odell's really an outside guy. So is Jarvis. That kid would fit perfect as a slot guy for them. So that's a good move. I like it. All right. I got the Ravens. And you know what, PB? I was going to take your man from Miami, Jaylen Phillips, because they're looking for an edge guy here. But the Ravens historically do not take the guy you think they're going to take at that position. They always take kind of a guy with a freaky background, didn't always play football, grew into playing football, athletic type of guy. And I'm going to take the kid out of Georgia, Aziz Ujiri, who is a man-child, needs to develop, needs to be refined, but I think the Ravens have time to do that with him. So that's my pick for the Ravens.
I like that one a lot. And next up, you have the Saints. And you know what? That's going to fall right into them because I think you still have a guy on my board. I have him as the number 2 edge rusher. And here we are already 3 deep because Kwity Paye went.
Yeah. Yeah.
Aziz went. You got Rousseau going earlier because you thought he was a more talented upside edge guy on the Hurricanes. And I'll tell you, that kid on the other side is pretty good. 6'5", 266, Jalen Phillips. And if he drops all the way to 28, I think that's a no-brainer for the Saints.
Yeah, I'm with you. That he's going to burst. He'll be a steal. And the States already have a pretty good defense. They don't need him to be a stud, right?
Yeah.
So, good fit. All right. I get the Packers. And they've been talking about the Packers getting talent for Rodgers for years on end. I think they finally make a move. I think they take the kid out of Florida, Kadarius Toney here.
All right. So going with a receiver. All right.
Yeah, I think if they finally get him some help.
All
We'll
right.
see.
Okay. Receivers can be crapshoots in the first round after those big three that we talked about earlier, Chase, Waddle, and Devonta Smith. But and I think it's a big miss here because this is what scares the hell out of me, especially as a Patriots fan. The Buffalo Bills picking at number 30. They're already a very, very strong team. They potentially could contend with the Chiefs next year for that title in that league, in the AFC. And there's a guy that is going to be beefing up that defense. And it's a linebacker, a little bit underrated, not a big-time school necessarily, but he's 6'4", 260 as a linebacker, Zaven Collins out of Tulsa.
That's a steal. He's supposed
Bills,
to. I'm surprised I didn't take him, but you're right. I've seen him play a couple times. And
and if the Bills get him, the Bills could be pretty scary.
Nice. All right. I got number 31. The Ravens are picking for where the Chiefs should have been because the Chiefs did something that we didn't think they're going to be able to do. They got offensive line help when they got Orlando Brown, Zeus, from the Ravens. I can't believe that trade. They did not give up a lot. I mean, here they are only giving up their pick at number 31. What a steal. But I believe the Ravens going to do something about tackle at this point in time. So I think they go out there, they take a little bit of a wild card, but the guy is a champion. Alex Leatherwood from the University of Alabama.
That's a great pick, and that's a perfect spot for him. And the Chiefs fans should be applauding that pick after that disaster we saw in the Super Bowl and the inability to protect Mahomes. They need to focus on that. Excellent pick. Love it.
Yeah, they did a good job. They got Brown and they got Tooney, right? In free agency and Brown in a trade, right? So
yeah, that'll make a big difference, and that's what that team needs.
Yeah. All right, wrap us up with Tampa Bay. They don't need anything. They signed everybody, but what are they going to take?
Tampa Bay. So we got Tampa Brady up next, right? Tampa Brady picking at 32. Hey, you know what? It's always nice to give Brady help and give receivers. We don't know the status of Brown at this point. And it's easy to say, hey, let's go for a wide receiver. But you know what? 4 or 5 of them have already gone off the board. The best wide receiver on the board at this point is going to be probably Terrace Marshall out of LSU, the biggest receiver in the draft, actually, 6'3", 200, big kid. But I think that's a mistake. I think it would be a mistake to take the receiver. I think they have to continue that dominance that they have in that front seven and that defensive front that they have. They're getting older, let's face it, right? Even though they're coming back intact, I'd still like to see him get some talent there. And there's a kid out of Penn State, edge rusher, Jason Owe, who
okay.
Fit in Tampa Bay. He's 6'5", 253. Perfect fit for Tampa Bay. That's who they should go after at number 32. Worry about getting another receiver maybe in the second round somewhere.
That's not bad. You're right. I think they got to keep boosting the defense. The one pick I might have considered for them, Brady loves a shifty little running back. Travis Etienne out of Clemson would have been a perfect fit for those guys.
All right. I think you can get him a little bit later. But, hey, tell me, who else do you think slipped to the second round? Are there any other big names here that we didn't get in the first round that are going to be steals in the second round, perhaps?
I mean, you're looking at probably
maybe a Wyatt Davis out of Ohio State, offensive lineman.
He's up there. He's rated high. There's a kid out of Washington. It was a lot of talk that was going to go in the early 20s. Joe Tyron, edge rusher himself. He was a guy. I got another guy, Alabama guy, really good linebacker, Dylan Moses will be a nice pick in the second or early third, but he could move up. Another guy I liked a lot, and mostly because I loved his father, Asante Samuel, cornerback out of Florida State.
Yeah, there's a few mock drafts out there that have him going late in the first round.
Yes, yes.
I think it's too much talent at corner, and he's 5'10", 184. That scares me a little bit.
It does. No, you're right. But he's a player, man. I just like his father was that size, by the way. He was a damn good cornerback in the NFL, right? So you never know. Yeah, those are the only other ones I could see. A guy that was also pretty high rated on the offensive line was a kid out of Tennessee, Trey Smith. He's supposed to be the second guard going off the board. So he could be someone that would be a really good value for someone who needs a guard in the offensive line. And a guy that a lot of people love, the kid from Alabama, the center, who couldn't play in this championship game, right? What's his name? Landon, God, I'm drawing a blank on his name now. Landon Dickerson. How can I forget his name? Landon Dickerson.
All right. Well, and I have a couple linemen for you that may still figure out a way to get into the first round of this draft. Jaylen Mayfield out of Michigan. 6'5", 320, big kid. Another kid, 6'5", 322, same height, same weight. Out of your Oklahoma Sooners, Creed Humphrey, center. He could find his way into the first round as well. Maybe even the Chiefs look at one of those two guys instead of Leatherhead, potentially at that 31st pick. But
that's the Ravens. The Ravens at 31. The Ravens got the Kansas City Chiefs pick.
Oh, all right. Sorry about that.
For Orlando Brown. They got Orlando
Brown.
Oh,
okay. All right. My bad on that one. Sorry. All right.
All right, man. Well, we'll see how our picks look. We'll talk about it the next show we do. Maybe we'll do one on Sunday, a little recap.
Yeah. Sounds good.
All right, man. All right, PB&Z Sports Chaos. Where's your beer? Give us one more flash of that local beer.
Oh, yeah. Tropical Bay IPA. Can't go wrong with this one.
Nice.
Oh, if you want it, we'll ship it up to you.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it. All right, PB, signing off. Have a good one.
All right.